You promise me, piece by piece, all of the insurances are paid, there are no employment issues, all of the IP is owned, so I will be able to turn to you.
Are you thinking about buying or selling your businesses? Then you can question yourself if you want to take over everything or pick and choose from the really good parts that you want. So today we're going to talk about the share purchase versus asset sale. And we have our business lawyer here to explain it to us.
Hello,
And this is everything you need to know if you want to sell or buy your businesses to take the best option and making the best deal for you. Stick around because this is going to be so interesting. First, Kat, I'm going to ask you, what is the difference between these two?
Okay, so we have the asset sale and the share purchase. We'll begin with the asset sale. So let's say that you, Ida, you own a company, Ida's Magical Music LLC.
Yes.
Yeah. This represents, because we don't have a whiteboard, this is your company. You own it. You're the shareholder. Okay. So in the share purchase, I will buy the shares from you. So I will transfer the shares, and then I own Ida's Magic Music LLC. But in the asset sale, I will not do the transfer, the deal with you. I will instead turn to the company that you own, Ida's Magic Music LLC, and I will, from that company, I will buy the assets. So you remain the shareholders of the entity, the LLC, but I buy the stuff in it. The business will be transferred to me.
Okay.
So huge difference. Share purchase, you and I get the package.
And I have nothing to do with it then?
Yeah. Assets, I buy the content, but you keep the package, you keep the company. And both have great advantages and great disadvantages. And if you look at the asset purchase, then the great advantage is that if I look at how you have run this company, you have a temperament.
Yes.
So you fight and you fire employees, and I'm afraid you're going to get sued. Your taxes, I get nervous. Because then, if I were to buy the whole company from you and become shareholder, I would buy all of the historic legacy, all of the problems, all of the issues. If a former employee sues the company because of your actions, then I will be responsible. It's my problem now. I own the entity, the legal person, your company. But if I do the asset sale, that responsible party that you used to fire the employee stays with you. So they turn to you for the dispute. I only take the assets.
Because I'm still having the company.
Yeah. So the number one advantage with the asset sale is that I can cherry pick only the beneficial assets, the one I want. It might not be all. It might be a specific part of the business or some things that are more attractive to me than others. And I can leave the legacy, the hidden problems, the things I don't know, tax issues, disputes, claims, and so forth. I leave that with you because that's part of the LLC, the limited liability company, or other legal entity that you have.
Yes, because we talked about it in an episode about selling or buying company, the risks of having the historical.
Yeah, of the share purchase.
Yes.
So, what are then the downsides? It sounds like why not always do asset sale then?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, number one, it can be really intricate to kind of define what assets do I want to purchase. I need to kind of do my due diligence to understand that. What are they valued at and what do you have? But number two, also, this entity, the Magic Music Company, all of their contracts, they might have a contract with Sony and with Google and everything, customers, suppliers. All of those contracts are with the legal entity.
Which is the company then?
The company. So in the asset sale, you and I cannot just agree that you keep the legal entity, but we want those contracts to be transferred to me, to my legal entity. They stay behind. So then we have to renegotiate with all of these different third parties. All of the customers, the employees might want out. Typically, you have an obligation to kind of take care of the employees as the buyer in most jurisdictions as employment protection, but they can still decide to leave. And all of those Sony, Google, they might take the chance to either terminate the agreement or to renegotiate it to less favorable terms. So it's time consuming and there's a risk.
A lot of work.
A lot of work. So both types of transactions do entail a lot of work, a lot of legal expertise, and tax advice is also very key. You need to look at what is most favorable for you from a tax perspective.
But if I buy the assets, or if you buy the assets, we don't have anything to do with each other then.
Afterwards. No, and you're not part of that. But some people would say, well, in the asset sale, Ida, you're safe because you're not even signing the agreement, right? I'm contracting with the company, so you're one step removed, and you have limited liability. Well, any savvy buyer or lawyer will have you sign the contract being jointly liable. So I will still treat you as a seller. You will still have the same obligations, liability towards me.
That would be a smart thing to do.
Yeah. So that's an advice if you do the asset sale. Make sure that you can only turn to the company unless it's a really huge company that you feel that's sufficient. But otherwise, also make sure that the seller signs jointly liable with the company.
Okay. Is there anything else you should think about when it comes to asset sale?
Oh, well, mostly it's about identifying what you are buying and also think about the risk. And there can be kind of a hassle that even if you agree, you start to renegotiate contracts, you take them over, the company will still exist, at least for a while before you liquidate it, because you need to take the purchase price and everything. Then third parties might still believe that they should be paying with that to that company. So you kind of have this information obligation that they might send bills and payments to the wrong party. So you kind of have this information burden going on. So it's kind of a practicality afterwards. So I would say for small, medium-sized businesses, in particular, if the owner you feel that they might not have been that nitty-gritty with the taxes or legal compliance and everything, they might have focused on just running the business fair enough. Then I would say asset sale is good. If there's a bigger company involved or many contracts, then I would say prefer a share purchase, doing the due diligence. And the caveat is that when you do the share purchase and you say, okay, well, then I take the whole entity. So all of those contracts, they're unaffected because the party to the contract has not changed. It's a shareholder that has changed. Well, key contracts, typically not the generic contracts, but key contracts can have a so-called change of control. And we'll do a particular episode about that, but that means that they say that even if the entity remains, if the owner, the controller of that entity changes, I have a walkaway right, I have a right to renegotiate, etc. So then that still kicks in.
Okay.
So for me as a lawyer, if you come to me and say, I want to buy a business, can you do the due diligence? One of the most important things for me to find is if there are any change of control clauses, because we need to sort them, renegotiate or reevaluate the price before we sign the contract.
So otherwise, you don't stand there without the contracts.
It can explode. Yeah, exactly. So there's a lot of pressure for a lawyer, but do use one.
Yeah, do use one.
I don't say that all the time, but in this case, I will.
So anything about share purchase? Is there any downsides of the share purchase?
Well, that is the hidden risk that you take legacy. So again, proper due diligence. We have an episode on that. That's the investigation of the company, and warranties, reps and warranties. I will require that you promise me, piece by piece, all of the insurances are paid, all of the data protection has been complied. There are no employment issues that you have not already informed me about. All of the taxes has been paid on time. All of the IP is owned. There are no copy infringements. So I will be able to turn to you if anything turns up within at least the first 12 to 24 months. I can go after you. And I would recommend, if you don't pay all of the purchase price at once, you do it in tranches, and you can put it in an escrow account. So it's safeguarded. So if anything comes up when you buy that whole magic music company, and it shows up that there were claims that cost the company so much money, and they're all due to you, then I have those reps and warranties, and I have either haven't paid you all of the money, or I have it in the escrow, and I can require to get some of it back as a price deduction.
So it seems quite hard to choose between these two.
Indeed, I typically prefer the share purchase because it's more comprehensive, unless the case is, like I said, that you really feel as a can of worms. It's too murky what's happened, or too intertwined with the buyer. Or you see that the business, that as it has been run, is not how you want to run it. Or it's only a part of it. Perhaps it's a big publicly traded company and you just want to buy a small branch of it. Then the asset sale is to prefer. So you really have to look at the needs of both parties. And as a seller, if you are a buyer who's been really tight with the company, it's your baby, it's kind of almost a mom and pop shop, then it might be better with the asset sale because you might be able to get a better price. Because there are hidden risks and there are things that are not that attractive. It might be easier for you to find buyers willing to buy if you just carve out that nice, sweet and juicy part of it. So it's all depending on a case by case.
Yes, thank you for explaining it and clearing it up. Now you have the tools and you know the difference between the share purchase and the asset sale and know how to think and when you can use each thing.
Indeed.
And remember, this is not legal advice, it's knowledge sharing. And also do not forget to like and subscribe and share with your network about this channel. This episode is also powered by the LE Fitness and we are so happy to have that collaboration with them.
Indeed.
Thanks for today.
Thank you.
Until
Bye-bye.
next time.